p.m., was joking around with my friend, 31F, in taxi on the way to a pub for her birthday, and we were talking about my new fitness tracker watch. I told her that my resting heart rate a kind comment from my close friend has left an enduring impression on me. Recently, my friend and I, both in our early 30s, were engaging in a lighthearted conversation while riding in a taxi headed to a pub for her birthday. Our conversation shifted to my new fitness tracking device, and I mentioned my resting heart rate being below 55. In response, my friend observed that this is consistent with my calm demeanor, and that it's one of the reasons she enjoys my company, describing it as feeling safe in my presence. Her words have touched me deeply, as they were genuinely heartfelt. I'm a bi and considering just going 100% gay because of how horrible dating is. As an average straight guy, like, seriously, I text a girl for days and then just get ghosted or flaked on. Meanwhile, I can ask a cute twink on Grindr if you wanna cuddle, and 9/10 times they'll say ye. As a bisexual individual, I've been pondering the idea of fully embracing my gay side due to the overwhelming frustration I experience in the dating scene as a typical straight guy. Honestly, it feels like a never-ending cycle of rejection. I'll text a woman multiple times, only to be left in the dark with no response. Conversely, if I casually ask a charming, younger man on a dating app if he'd like to spend some time together, the response is often positive and immediate. It's a harsh reality, but I've come to the realization that I shouldn't waste my time on a system that consistently fails me. Maybe it's time to look elsewhere. Edit. I want to clarify that my intention isn't to place blame on women specifically, but rather to acknowledge the broader issue of a toxic and often unresponsive dating culture that seems to disproportionately affect straight men. AITA for making the house cold so my wife would cuddle with me. When me and my wife go to sleep, I generally cuddle with her. However, it's getting closer to summer, and so she says that it's too hot to cuddle. A few weeks ago I had the genius idea of reducing the temperature on. Am I the asshole for deliberately making our home uncomfortable to initiate intimacy with my wife in our household? I'm accustomed to cuddling with my wife as we go to sleep. However, with warmer months approaching, she expresses her discomfort with cuddling due to the heat. A few weeks ago, I devised a plan to make the evening more conducive to cuddling by setting the thermostat to a lower temperature at night. I found it amusing and shared the story with a close friend, but to my surprise, he reacted strongly and labeled me an insensitive person. Am I the asshole in this situation? More pretty than petty revenge. I was working in a busy urban deli during lunch rush on a Friday. One guy decided that with his turn he would gesture for me to come closer so only I could hear, and say to me, "Could I have a deli worker with nothing on it?" I stepped back a few. A sly jab backfires. It was a chaotic Friday lunch at the urban deli where I worked. A customer thought he could catch me off guard by discreetly asking for a peculiar order. He whispered to me, trying to make it seem like a private joke, and requested a deli worker with nothing on it. I cleverly played along, stepping back a few feet and pointing at him. With a mischievous grin, I shouted to the crowd in line, "I think everyone wants to know what this gentleman just ordered." The line erupted in a mixture of amusement and surprise as I revealed his unusual request. The would-be jokester's face turned bright red as he hastily retreated from the scene, his sly attempt at humor backfiring in spectacular fashion. TLDR. A customer asked for a deli worker with nothing on it, and I publicly embarrassed him in front of the entire line, turning the tables on his attempted prank. Update. This story is still a great example of how a quick-witted response can turn a negative situation into a positive one, and is a great reminder of the power of humor in diffusing awkward moments. Edit. This story showcases the importance of staying calm and composed under pressure, and of using humor to AITA for telling my GF that I am breaking up with her if she becomes an exotic dancer. My GF, 20F, informed me that the gentlemen's club near us is hiring and that she wants to work there for a period of time in order to pay off her student debt. I told her that if she goes, am I the asshole for warning my girlfriend that our relationship will end if she chooses to become a stripper? Recently, my girlfriend, 20F, revealed to me that the local gentlemen's club near our residence is hiring, and she's considering applying to work there for a short while to help pay off her student loans. I made it clear to her that if she goes through with this plan, our relationship would likely come to an end. While I understand that it's ultimately her decision, the idea of her performing in a public setting without clothing makes me uncomfortable. TLDR girlfriend wants to work as a stripper to pay off debt. I told her it would end our relationship, unsure if it's AITA. Edit. It's worth noting that the gentleman's club is not the only way for her to pay off her debt, and there might be other options available. However, this is not something I can influence, and ultimately, it's her decision. Update. I will be taking a more open-minded approach to this situation. I can't stop thinking of this guy's dick. It was beautiful and big. I think it was the most nicest looking dick I've encountered in my life. The thing that turned me on was he was a really chill, introverted, talented guy, and he did not seem to know he has a nice dick. The memory of a certain individual has become an all-consuming fixation for me. His physical attributes were undeniably striking, particularly in a certain area. I found myself drawn to him, as he exuded a unique blend of calmness and talent, often veiled behind an introverted persona. It was as if he was unaware of his own allure, which added to his endearing quality. His demeanor was mature and effortless, and it's amusing that he seemed so nonchalant about it. The fleeting nature of our encounter, coupled with the geographical distance between us, has made it impossible to rekindle any potential connection. Yet, I find myself haunted by the thought of him, and the sensations he evoked in me. I'm apparently getting fined $5,000 for asking a woman to show her service dog's papers at my job, manager told me to. What happens if I refuse to give up $5,000? I only have $6K to my name, Georgia. This happened at 9 a.m. I got served papers at 2:45 p.m. My manager told me to ask the WOM. I'm facing a potential financial burden after being instructed to ask a woman about her service dogs at my workplace. In Georgia, I've recently learned that I might be liable for a $5,000 fine. If I choose not to pay this sum, what are the possible consequences? My current savings amount to $6,000. This ordeal began early in the morning, but I received the served papers at 2:45 p.m. My manager had previously instructed me to inquire about the dog's status because it was behaving in a way that suggested it was not a service animal, given its actions on the counter. The woman in question appeared to be in her 60s, while I'm in my 20s. When I asked her about the dog's papers, she claimed that the vest was at home. I was told that, according to the law, we could be held liable for requesting verification of her service dog's status. I find this situation quite perplexing. I fucking hate Korea. Society is pathologically competitive and people are so awful and toxic. Its educational system is so great that it gave me nothing but depression and social awkwardness. I'm currently studying for college admission test again because I failed last year. I have a profound dislike for the culture in Korea. The societal pressure to constantly compete is suffocating, and many individuals exhibit toxic behavior that's unbearable. Their esteemed educational system, while praised by many, has left me feeling drained, anxious, and socially inept. I'm currently preparing for a college entrance exam, having failed the previous year, and the stress is taking a toll on my well-being. Studying from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. in a cramped 7 square meters room, away from the comfort and support of my family, is a recipe for disaster for my mental health. I often find myself wishing I had been born in a different country. I refused to pick up a passenger outside of a strip club. I work for one of those taxi apps. Had a carpool request and picked up some poor girl getting out of work at 3 a.m. She ended up falling asleep in the car. On the way to her place I got another request outside of strip. One late night, I received a ride request for a carpool service I work with. I picked up a young woman who was leaving a job, arriving at 3 a.m. As she settled in for the ride, she fell asleep in the backseat. A few minutes later, another ride request popped up, this time outside a gentleman's club. Although the driver's side window was rolled down, I decided not to pick up the waiting passenger. Instead of getting out, I gave the wrong name when the man approached my car, then quickly cancelled the ride and took the sleeping woman directly to her destination. Edit. This story might be a fictional account, or the author's perception might be influenced by personal biases and experiences. Update: the actions taken by the driver in this story may be against company policies for ride-hailing services, but the driver's decision to prioritize the safety of the sleeping woman was likely a moral choice. TLDR: a taxi driver for a ride-sharing service encounters an uncomfortable situation with a passenger outside a strip club and chooses to prioritize the safety of the sleeping woman already in the car. My brother died. My 46-year-old, marathon running, seemingly healthy brother died on Monday night due to what appears to be either an aneurysm or blood clot while running on his treadmill. He went to the basement to run after dinner and his wife found him a couple of hours later. A tragic loss Monday evening brought devastating news as my 46-year-old brother, known for his impressive endurance and unwavering health, unexpectedly succumbed to what appears to be either an aneurysm or a blood clot while exercising on his treadmill. Following dinner, he headed to the basement to complete his workout routine, only to be found unresponsive a couple of hours later by his wife. His untimely passing leaves behind a grieving family, including his loving wife and 2 young daughters, aged 10 and 8. My brother was renowned for his generosity, empathy, and modest nature, and his loss will be deeply felt not only by me, but also by countless others whose lives he touched with kindness and compassion. Edit: this story is a personal account of a family tragedy. Update: no updates have been added to this story. TLDR: a 46-year-old man died unexpectedly while exercising on his treadmill, leaving behind a wife and 2 young daughters. So this one is gonna be extremely short but satisfying. When my son had grown out of his baby toys, most never opened because I have more sisters and aunts you can poke a stick at, my wife bagged up about $500 worth of new and used toys and posted them to the local Facebook group. A brief but memorable encounter unfolded in our household as my son outgrew his baby items, most of which remained unwrapped thanks to the abundance of relatives. We collected around $500 worth of new and gently used toys. My wife then carefully packaged them and listed them for sale on the local Facebook group for a mere $20. A prospective buyer quickly hit the "sold" button and requested our address. When she arrived, she attempted to negotiate a lower price with my wife, suggesting $10 for the entire collection. My wife's response, however, was unwavering. "Are you joking? These toys are worth hundreds, and some are still in their original packaging. You can leave, and I'll donate them to someone who truly appreciates them." According to my wife, the woman stormed off in anger. Edit: I have since been asked if this story is entirely true, and I assure you it is. Update: the buyer has since been reported for attempting to haggle and leave after being informed she could leave, and I'm glad we took action. TLDR: woman tries to haggle with $20 price tag for hundreds of dollars worth of toys and gets rejected. I stole a gift I gave to my boss after he gave me a cheap gift. Last Christmas, my boss made a comment that no one ever gets him a gift at the holiday party and that he's expected to do the giving. He also always talks about steak, so I got him a $100 gift card to Burton's S. Over the holiday season, our boss made a remark about how he's often the one giving gifts at the office party. Given his love for fine dining, I decided to treat him to a special experience by gifting him a $100 gift card to Burton's Steakhouse. At the party, I presented him with the gift, which he reciprocated with a $5 scratch ticket. This gesture didn't sit well with me, but I chose to let it go. However, when my boss asked me to retrieve a folder from his desk a few weeks later, I discovered the gift card I had given him nestled beneath a pile of papers. Feeling a sense of satisfaction, I took back the gift card and used it to treat my girlfriend to a night at Burton's Steakhouse, savoring a moment of vindication. Edit: the story involves workplace dynamics, gift-giving etiquette, and a personal sense of satisfaction. TLDR: a person takes back a gift card they had given their boss after realizing he didn't appreciate the gesture, using it to treat their girlfriend instead. Final update: WIBTAH for reporting my mom and sister for stealing my car has been returned, so the police will not need to get involved. However, there is body damage that wasn't there the last time I used it, pic attached. Can't tell if it was intentional damage or not, BU. My family affair. When the unthinkable happens, it's a relief to know that my vehicle has been recovered, and there will be no need to escalate the situation to the authorities. However, The car's return has also brought to light some unwanted physical damage that was not present when I last drove it. I've included a photo for reference, and the extent of the damage leaves me uncertain about its origin. The fact that the damage occurred remains secondary to the bigger issue at hand. As I gather all necessary documents, I've decided to seek professional guidance to ensure that those responsible are held accountable for the damages. This unfortunate incident has been a turning point for me, and I've come to realize the importance of being vigilant with my personal belongings, particularly my vehicle. From now on, I'll make sure to keep my keys secure and out of reach. I'd like to extend my gratitude to everyone who offered their input and advice throughout this ordeal. Your support has been invaluable, and I appreciate the time you took to share your thoughts with me. My mom could have been dead within minutes yesterday. I was getting ready for school whilst Mum was vomiting in the bathroom. She said it was just a stomach bug and to just go to school, but mentioned her arm hurt. Something